Hello, welcome to my channel, Hysteria Projects. Hope you're doing well. These are general messages. Take what resonates and leave the rest behind. The underlying energy is this imprisonment energy. I do feel like this is your energy. There is this sense of depression. I feel like this is along the lines of relationships. Let's go ahead and start pulling. I do feel like with that being the general energy, though, Spirit wants to just come through real quick and say, you know, the sadness is not part of your DNA. Like, you could have been going through this for quite a long time now, and you're meant to be happy. It seriously is, like, woven within your DNA to have happiness and express joy. And it's like that's been gone for so long now, you maybe have forgotten that. Alright, Spirit, so let's get into it. Yeah. Thoughts over a relationship here. You know, really has you in your emotions. This is somebody, you know, from your past. I don't know how far past, you know, but you know, you are meant to be happy. Now, this bad health and courtship. I do sense that you were dealing with a karmic here. Now, it might have not been very apparent that this person was karmic, because I'm getting that this was like a little karmic, you know, and in comparison to the major karmics that you have dealt with throughout your life, it's almost like this person didn't even register, you know. And in all reality, you know, Spirit has not been giving you a helping hand with this person. I feel like one of the reasons that could be is because this person is a karmic, but they're not like a major karmic that the divine needs to intervene and, you know, really help guide you kind of deal. You know, this is something that Spirit feels like you could handle yourself. And yes, you may be in bad health, and this situation has put you in bad health, but this person is a karmic to you. You know? This is something that you can handle. It is. It's heartbreaking, but it is something that you can manage. I feel like there's a lot more going in your life right now. You know, so this is just like extra heavy burden. Okay? And if you do feel like you've been dealing with this alone, you know, you've been guided throughout your entire life. But when it comes to this person, you know, Spirit is not going out of their way, is kind of what they're wanting to imply here. They're not going out of their way. You know, this is something that, you know, as far as guidance goes, you know, they've shown you. You've seen what you've needed to see. You know, and if you hadn't have seen what you needed to see, I don't feel like you would be in this heartbroken energy right now. But there is this strength within you, okay? So you could be worried about money right now. Again, I was picking up on you could be dealing with a lot of other things in your life, not just this heartache. And there could be some fear here, a lot of worry. I feel like everything is kind of unstable for you at the moment. Whoever this person is, though, that you were dealing with, this person is also scared, afraid. Not for the same reasons, though. I feel like for you, you have a lot on your plate, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of disappointment to deal with as well throughout a lot of just normal day-to-day things. And you could be worried about a job or something here. What I'm getting to, though, is that this person, this karmic that you've been dealing with, this is somebody that is afraid to put the work in. Afraid to put the work into the relationship and afraid to put the work in themselves. This person is afraid of growth. Yeah. This pathway in this coffin here. This person is afraid of growth. This person is afraid of, nurturing and pouring their own spirituality and their mindset here to not be toxic, to not be poisonous. They're afraid of this journey. And I feel like this is a journey that you're on, So this person being afraid to go down this path, that's kind of the end, right? Because you're on your path. Although it's bumpy and dark and not very clear at the moment, you are headed towards something that the divine is leading you to. This person is afraid to go that way. You could be, or both of you could be having some legal battles at the moment. Y'all could be fighting about money. You definitely had to make a judgment call for yourself, Okay, so for whoever this message is resonating for, excuse me, whoever this message is resonating for, I'm talking to somebody here that is part of the Pride community. I am specifically getting man. So I do feel like, this is a man and man relationship here. And you're extremely depressed because, it's like all you've encountered is darkness. All you've encountered is like, you want peace. You want happiness. You want peace and happiness and love. Is that too much to ask? Is kind of where you're coming from with this. And, this depression that you're in, it very much has you in like a fuck you attitude. And not just towards this person, but in general, okay? Because you have so much on your plate, so much to deal with. There's this unfairness here that there's this unfairness here. You get one more, and then I'll pull tarot. And you know, life's not fair. Things aren't fair. You know, and that sucks. It does. But you're growing as well. I mean, you are in this depression, this despair, this fuck you, fuck everyone energy. But that is going to change. You know, you could be struggling right now to find a job. You could be struggling right now to find housing. Relationships falling apart. You know, you have every reason to feel the way that you feel. You do. But the divine wants to reiterate it again. This depression, this sadness, this long span of bad luck, you know, this is not who you are. This is not who you are meant to be. You know, within your DNA, you're meant to be happy. You're meant to have joy. You know, depression is not who you are. Seven of Cups. You know, you really did feel like this person was the one. And maybe not the one, but you were very dedicated to this person. I'll say that. Okay? You were very committed and dedicated to this person. Yeah. And you had to walk away. I mean, for some of you, you could have felt abandoned. And I'm getting that that's the energy that you felt before you had to walk away. Like you had already felt like all was lost. You know, there was nothing more that could be done. Ran out of options. This person could have been juggling you, either with work or with somebody else. I'm getting that this person wasn't very, like, consistent in your life. You know, this person would kind of come and go. Yeah, and this Ten of Wands. You know, you had a lot of hope. And again, you carrying all of this weight, all of these burdens. It's like you were hoping for something good to happen. You were hoping that this person would go down this path. You know, but this path isn't just a quick, easy thing to do. It's long term. It takes work. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. And the truth is, this person didn't want to put that in. They didn't want to put in that work or that time or that effort. You know, this person is afraid of growth. And if this person is afraid of growth, and you, although depressed and mad at the world, still have the desire to grow, and of course your paths aren't going to be aligned anymore, you know? Also, you don't want to be with somebody that is not growing, and that's ultimately going to lead you to either have to hold yourself back, or you two just outgrow each other anyways, right? And grow apart. So there definitely was a choice here. You know, keep pushing through, keep moving forward and moving on, okay? 1, 2, 3 could be significant to you. 1023 could be significant, but keep pushing forward because you are going to come out on the other side of this. You know, yeah, you haven't had the greatest luck in situations, and jobs, and housing, and relationships. You've not had the greatest cards, but look, with this Ten of Cups on the bottom, And this victory, when I have a tower moment here, all isn't lost. There are other people out there. There is still that happy life waiting for you. The key to this is to not give up and to continue to take action. Continue to move forward. Yeah, the Six of Cups in the reverse. Continue to move forward and move on from this past person. This past person is really affecting your emotional state here. You are so unhappy. And yes, while you are heartbroken, I'm getting a lot of anger. Excuse me. I'm getting a lot of anger as well. And not just at this relationship, but just how life in general has been going. Anything else, Spirit? Yeah. The key to your happiness here when it comes to dealing with this person is to let go. To let go of them. I'm getting that this person, they kind of consume your thoughts. You really do stay thinking about this person quite a bit. And that does add to your depression. It does. It also is adding to your anger. And I do kind of see that it's almost like there's other things in your life that are kind of falling apart. And I kind of hate to say it this way, but it's like they're falling apart so you can focus on that and not focus on this. Because in comparison, it's this person, this relationship, this heartbreak that is affecting you the most emotionally. Like, it's really putting you in a depression, which is a snowball effect to all different types of other things. So it's like the divine is forcing you to have to pay attention to other aspects of your life right now, whether that be finding a job or finding a place to live. There's this taking action, energy that the divine is pushing you in here. And I feel like it's kind of, to help you get your mind off of this. Because when you start focusing on these things right here, and putting that action into it, there's success, there's emotional fulfillment and happiness here, and love and acceptance, that belonging. The complete opposite of what you are seeing and feeling right now. And again, when I said earlier, this person didn't want to grow, so you had a choice. Do you want to not grow as well and hold yourself back? Or surpass this person and you two go your separate ways here? And you have that energy of wanting to grow, okay? So by you being consumed in these depressing thoughts of this person, what is that doing? That's holding you back, right? So although this person may not be physically in your life, they're still holding you back. And you're not meant to be depressed. You're not meant to be in this unhappy, fuck you, fuck the world energy. You're meant to be happy. You're meant to be in your power. So what I'm getting off of this is, yes, this might be very, very difficult and hard. But when you come out on the other side of this, when you let go of this past, and you take the action to head towards your victory here, and overcome these obstacles, you're going to be standing in your power. Your whole life, I'm getting, is going to turn around, but in order for any of that to happen, there is going to need to be a perception shift here. And I do feel like, the divine has not been giving you a helping hand with this person, okay? But they are still helping you. They are still guiding you. And it may seem as though everything is falling apart at the moment, but you really are being led towards happiness. You are on your path. And the path isn't always bright and fun, and it's pretty rough sometimes. But I see you coming out on top of this. You know, I see this rainbow energy here of you being able to find your emperor. You know, you standing in your power and you being aligned with a man that is also standing in his power. There is hope, you know. You're having to alchemize a lot of negative things. But every bit of this that you are working on, every weight that you set down that's not yours, and everything that, you know, you try to shift the perspective of internally, you know, all of these things are leading you towards what is meant for you. You know, this despair, all of this negative poverty, lack energy here, you know, that's not meant for you. That's why it's going away. And you may feel as though you don't have anything right now. But change your perspective of that, because it's like God has just weeded out everything that was not meant for you. And look at how much space has been opened up for the right things to be aligned with you now. No, keep pushing forward, keep moving through. Keep putting one step in front of the other, you know. Keep trying. You know, get out there and, you know, put in applications, whether it be for a job or a house, whatever this may be for you. It's like Spirit is kind of pushing you to pay attention to that and focus on that. And the side effect will be that you think less about this person, therefore being less depressed. Because that energy, you know, that sadness, that fuck you energy, that is going to repel, okay? So by you getting out of that energy, not focusing on this, focusing on building your life back up, that is going to allow this emperor to come in. You know, you're going to be, instead of pushing away everything and all the energy, you know, when you start building up your life again, you're going to be more receptive to receiving what is meant for you. And what is meant for you is an emperor. This 10 of Cups and this emperor. This happily ever after. Okay? So while you may not have had the best of luck as of currently, you know, that's not permanent. That's not how life is going to be for the rest of your life. You know, you will experience happiness. You will experience peace and love. Most of all, fulfillment, belonging. I do see a beautiful life for you. I don't see it with this person, though. No, you're having to go through a lot. You're having to go through some major, major endings right now. But you are incredibly strong. I'm surprised strength hasn't came out, because you are incredibly strong. Like, you just keep up that determined attitude, you know, like, keep pushing forward. Anything else, Spirit? Yeah, keep pushing forward through this heartbreak. You know, redirect your focus on other things right now. You know, try to find that balance. Keep holding on to hope. You know, you are protected. You are guided. You know, yes, the divine did not intervene on your behalf with this person, but I feel like that's because the divine feels like you are more than capable of doing this on your own. You know, they supply you with the guidance to keep leading you in the direction. And I do feel like this is kind of Spirit coming through to clarify, you know, like, you're not being punished. I feel like you feel like you're being punished, and you're not. But you had a lot of things in your life that were holding you back, that were not meant for you. And these things had to be removed in order to allow the space for what is meant for you, what will bring you happiness and peace. No, so you are not being punished, but keep being strong and keep pushing through. Okay? anything else. Yeah. You know, you are trying to hide how heartbroken you are over this. You are. You know, and I'm getting, for some of you, this could be something that you've, on the surface level, it doesn't seem like it's really affecting you like that, but this is affecting you significantly on the subconscious level. It really is. Spirit wants to say, what's holding you back isn't not having a job, isn't not having a place to live. Those aren't things that are holding you back. What's holding you back is this mental trap. What's holding you back is you hanging on to this heartbreak. Yeah, and the will. I'm sure that there are a lot of things that you have learned throughout all of this, and again, this is the divine saying, they are working on your behalf for the big picture, for the long term here, okay? It seems like things are falling apart, but things are going to fall back together and be balanced back out. Your life will be balanced back out, okay? I got the High Priestess here and the Hierophant. With this Wheel of Fortune, you are guided. You are. You're being asked to take action, take action. Start doing things, other things that you know that you need to do, and everything will fall into place. Anything else? Justice again, yeah, everything will fall into place and balance out, okay? All right, so let's pull a final message. Final message, please. Okay. So we have 3. We have anchor and self. Find your center within, remaining steadfast despite external storms. Okay? Very, very clear. Spirit is saying it's not what's happening on the outside of you that's holding you back. It's what's happening inside. This mentality, this state of mind. Okay? That is what's holding you back. Get grounded. Have light of life. Embrace your unique glow, however small, to light the way ahead. And then circle of care. Grow with the support of love and compassion, connecting to the strength of others. Again, when you let go of this past hurt, you finally pull that anchor up and move forward. You're going to be moving towards this Emperor, this 10 of Cups, this support, this love, this connection. Someone who is equally as strong as you are. And again, you are being guided. The divine hasn't just stepped in and just taken care of all of this for you and just, cleaned up everything in your life, right? You have to do the work too, okay? So move forward. Keep putting one step in front of the other. I do feel like you will be very surprised with how life starts to unfold for you. I hope this message helped. Until next time.